Hello and welcome to another Mindfulness Cafe session. Let's dive in. Welcome. So, let's dive in. Today, um, thought we'd talk about our raw emotions. So, this is kind of like I'm recording this on the 18th of November 2022. So, I'm kind of working through some of the grief of losing my mother who passed a month ago today. Um, And so, one of the things I've noticed is obviously there's a lot of emotions that come up when you're grieving, when you're mourning, no matter what the circumstances of the relationship are. And so I just sort of thought actually that sort of serves us in the Mindfulness Cafe because, sometimes we can find, ourselves feeling either extraordinarily irritable, touchy, or sort of super happy and then maniacal um, in as much as we're starting to play out on feelings. So we can either kind of go to that place of aversion where we kind of get grumpy and irritable and push feelings away. That's kind of like my go-to place. Or sometimes we can kind of start to get into sort of fixing and rescuing and become that kind of like happy and helpful and yes, everything's fine, pretending that everything's okay. Um, and again, neither of those two particular states are really in a place of processing our emotions. So there's an invitation um, to, rather than discharge our emotions through those behaviors, is to experience and process our emotions. So there's an invitation in this mindfulness cafe to, become aware of what we're feeling and accept what we're feeling. So, one of the things I noticed is once I start to notice that I was irritable, it gave me an opportunity to start to look underneath and just kind of like, okay, so I'm irritable. And that's kind of like, it's a state that I want to move away from, but I want to understand that state. So, you know, where does this come from? So I've done about 2 years of MVC training about 3 years ago. Well, my intention was really to learn how to practice MVC rather than be an MVC trainer, non-violent communication trainer. One of the things I learned in there, which I found really, really powerful and useful, is that the sort of theory and practice that if we make an assumption or hold a belief that our feelings and our emotions are a map to our needs, whether our needs are being met or unmet. So in MVC, we talk about the feelings that you can get from unmet needs and the feelings you can get from met needs. I think the key here, and what I find really useful, is just that understanding of, when I'm feeling irritable or angry, then there's potentially a need that's unmet beneath that, and I can get curious and explore that. And similarly, when I'm happy and joyful, there are needs that are being met, and again, that's kind of useful information to understand how you can create your own happiness by understanding how you can get your needs met. And I love this little Maslow's hierarchy of needs graphic here because it really does talk to, fundamentally, our physical needs being met, our psychological needs being met, and when those two needs, sort of those two levels in the hierarchy are being met, we can then start to talk about getting other needs met all the way up to self-actualization. But if we haven't got physical and psychological needs met, there's no point going to self-actualization. So just like a little piece of awareness there. And the invitation here is to allow those feelings to direct us towards our needs, whether they're met or unmet. And the practice is kind of like to allow and inquire, what is my unmet need or met need? So just as a way of expanding our needs literacy, I'm going to share this next slide with you, which comes from Marshall Rosenberg's work. It's from his book. Oh, let me just, I realise my camera is kind of over the top here. Let's see if I can move that. Look at that. I'm doing that sort of dynamically. Let's move that to there just for this slide. Um, just to notice that, he came up with these aren't in any way fixed or correct categories. It's just useful ways of categorizing need. But it's just an invitation for exploration, about our physical nurturance. That's a place of need, autonomy, spiritual communion, play, integrity, celebration, which is kind of where I'm hanging out at the moment, both celebrating the creation of life and dreams fulfilled and celebration to celebrate losses of loved ones, dreams, etc. And then interdependence, how to be in relationship and partnership, and those I particularly enjoy the contribution to enrichments of life as and the definition behind that of to exercise one's power by giving that which contributes to life. And I think that's a lovely expression of how one might choose to use one's power. And then I like the other one, the honesty one as well, because people say, what does it mean to be honest? And I love that, the empowering honesty that enables us to learn from our limitations. So just an invitation for you to reflect on some of these needs and maybe some of the feelings you've had in the last week or so, and just explore, where do those needs point to in terms of where those feelings point to in terms of your needs, whether they're met or unmet. And you might want to pause this video for a second, just to have a moment to reflect. And if you're doing this in a group with other people, then this is a good time to pause and have a conversation. Okay, assuming you've paused, had a conversation, that kind of just takes us really rather nicely into our meditation practice for today. I'll just move my camera back again and just enlarge it a little bit. There we go. So, got a bonus today. Got an extra mantra today. So the first two are about just settling our body and becoming present. Breathing in, I follow my breath all the way in, and breathing out, I follow my breath all the way out. And then breathing in, I calm my body, and breathing out, I calm my body, and just know that sort of body, mind, and breath are all one. And then it's kind of like an invitation to kind of go through what I experience as sort of like the MVC practice of, first of all, is to embrace our feelings, because only you create your feelings. It's only you inside you, and your feelings come from your own mental models and maps, and however you kind of encode that in the world. So breathing in, I embrace my feelings, and breathing out, I embrace my feelings. And then to know that those feelings in the MVC view of the world are coming from needs. And so it's just breathing in is to acknowledge you have needs. They may be met or unmet, but breathing in, I acknowledge my needs, and breathing out, I acknowledge my needs. And at least the third one, or the fifth one, the third one in this sort of round, which really does lead to the central practice in MVC, which is empathy, which is to really connect to your own feelings. So empathy for yourself, but then empathy for another person. And once we start to empathize with people, so we start to really understand their feelings, we can start to then connect to their needs and our own needs. And that, in a way, is a form of liberation. It's a form of freeing ourselves, because we get out of the trap of having conversations about sort of the judgments that we make, and keep us, connected on a human to human level. Once we start connecting with our needs, that's something that is common to every human being on the planet. We all have needs, and we start to tap in to our collective humanity. So this would be a good time again just to pause the video and invite you into your practice. Wishing you a lovely practice. Okay, making assumption that you've had a practice, I hope it was insightful and beautiful for you. I just want to finish this session with a couple of thoughts and our ritual practice. I think these two are really beautiful, and they're both by Marshall Rosenberg. The first one: words are windows or they're walls. They sentence us or set us free. I love that kind of like how we use our words can create prisons or it can create liberation. And then a kind of intention of when I speak and when I hear, let the love shine through me. So I'll let the love light shine through me. It's just like an intention that our words can be windows and opportunity to set people free. And then for me, this really talks to our collective commonness as humans, that we all have needs, and that our survival as a species depends on our ability to recognize that our well-being and the well-beings of others are in fact the same. And I hope those two really resonate with you. The ritual for this week is to stop, breathe, needs, and go. And that is just an invitation to stop every now and again and just notice your needs and the needs. Are you aware of the needs of others around you? Or had a conversation with others around you about their needs? And just kind of like, I've got my glasses on today. I've got my needs glasses on. Look at the world and experience the world through the filter of needs, and see what impact that has, what difference that might make to how you experience your world. Okay. Again, just want to say thank you very much for a wonderful practice and listening to this video. And if you're in a group, now's a good time just to pause this video and just share, anything that you need to say to be complete for your session together. And I appreciate you practicing, either if you've practiced on your own or practiced in a group. I wish that this is a meaningful and liberating practice for you, and look forward to seeing you again in the Mindfulness Cafe. Thank you very much and go well. Bye for now. Bye.